you laughing?
All right, welcome to Uncle Legend's Corner. I'll be your host, Uncle Legend, and with me always is my beautiful co-host, Call Girl 6, better known as Fox.
Hey y'all. Hey. What's going on?
Yo, do you even be paying attention to the fact that I still call you Call Girl 6?
Yeah, I do. I know. It's just a thing.
It's just a
If you
thing.
didn't, I'd be like, "What? You missing something?"
You don't like my voice? I even called you Call Girl
You ain't
6.
smack me on my butt when you woke up.
You know what I'm saying? You ain't called me Call Girl 6. I called you Call Girl 6 and you sounded like Louis Armstrong.
I was sick too.
Yeah, you sound like a whole ass jazz musician.
I ain't sick today.
My baby don't stand no cheating. My baby. Yo, how you feeling? First of all, beautiful Fox, how you feeling? All over the place.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little all over the place today.
Yo,
But
what did you do today in the gym? It just hit me like, cause you wasn't around me at all.
Yeah,
because
I
was
to be watching me. That's why. That's the problem.
Yeah, I ain't even know
sweating today.
I ain't even noticed what you was doing until
like,
when I was on a. What did I do after squats? When I was doing Romanian deadlifts, I think again I saw you like, man, what you doing back there?
I did the calf raises. I did a leg press. I did the abductor.
You did leg press?
Mm-hmm.
Did you do it with your bad leg?
Yeah.
So you
working on that in physical therapy. It just
so
wasn't
you just use one leg? Did you just use the one leg or you use both?
I use both legs.
Oh,
yeah.
You know, the only thing I worry about that, like when I had physical therapy when I got a motorcycle accident, they told me is like do more single leg exercises. That's why I be so big about dumbbells instead of barbells and doing single leg exercises, because when you do something like a bar press, like military press or chest press, or you do like a leg press or something, when you got a leg that's stronger than the other one, you favor it or whatever, and it don't do the same thing. But it's like,
I felt that today. I made sure I tried to act like I was normal today. So
you ain't never been normal.
Did whatever. I think I did my best. I did an adductor and an abductor.
No, what do we call abductor and adductor? What do we call the machine?
Good girl and the bad girl machine.
The good girl, bad girl machine.
And I did the what deadlift is that?
Deadlift.
I mean,
Romanian deadlifts.
Yeah.
I was like, deadlift.
Those, so
no damn deadlift.
I did good. I did 5. You know what I'm saying? I feel accomplished. I was sweating. Okay.
That's what I was feeling on that squat rack.
Mm-hmm.
It's something about as soon as you pass that 400 mark on the squat, you just start looking at mortals like
peasants.
You know what I mean? You start looking, especially when you're doing your set work, like your working weight is full 500 plus. You up like, you peasant skip leg day. Bring the mailman shorts back. And I had my skies out, thighs out shorts on today, boy.
Shorts.
See the top of this quadricep, little mama. See that your boy out here kicking ass.
I love legs. They was looking good. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Fox sexually assaulted me in the gym and shit like that.
Ain't nobody got no all that. We ain't talking about that.
One of them things you've been seeing a lot of on social media.
Don't be putting my business out.
That you be sexually harassing me?
Yeah, don't be doing that.
Oh yeah. Hey everybody, don't want y'all to know me. I be having relations with my wife. Nobody should know that. But
relationship rape is still rape, okay? Don't
do you know that? Do you know that?
Great.
But yeah, so you probably got a whole podcast canceled. Good job, Fox. We out here. That 400, 500 range on squats is what killed my knees. But that's the difference between regular men, you mortals, and demigods, Chris. And you old as hell, Chris. Like they probably wasn't counting the weight right when you threw it on. They was like, oh, that shit about 45 pounds. That plate 72 pounds. Y'all know the ball lopsided. Y'all back in there chewing tobacco on the squats and shit like that. Drinking whiskey and shit while y'all doing squats. It's different, man. You be using sports science and shit like that. It's a different age. But it was something that I was gonna go to before Chris derailed me. Fuck it, it don't matter. All right, on to the meat and potatoes. So I think the big topic that's going around right now is a lot of the protests that's going on with Tyree Nicholson out there in Memphis. So for those who don't know, who been living under a rock, you had a young man. I can't remember how old he was off the top of my head.
29, I think.
29, yeah. So you got a young man, 29 years old. He was pulled over by the police, and all you see on the cam video, the chest cam video or whatever, the police cam is he got yanked out of his car, got roughed up, looked like he got scared, hauled ass because they was beating the dog shit out of him, right? Yeah. And then they caught him, and then they wailed 5 grown ass, looked like all 200 and something plus pound men, wailed on this 29-year-old young man and beat him, which ultimately caused his death.
Yeah. His mom was read something where his mom was saying, like, he had Crohn's disease, so that keeps you pretty much in a different type of state physically, and he was like 145 pounds.
I don't know a lot about Crohn's disease. What you mean by like
I know a lot about Crohn's. So so you always in the bathroom a lot, right? You can't really retain things, your nutrients and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, because it passes through before you can absorb all the nutrients.
Yeah,
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, your ileum. But they so anyway, his mother was talking about how thin he was.
Yeah, you see how many people
on the picture he was really thin.
You see how many people left the chat as soon as we brought this up?
Yeah.
They left in droves. Like, I don't want to talk about this. I came here for fun. No. Well, sometimes we got to deal with real shit.
Sometimes we got to deal with reality.
Yo, so my thing is that this is such a big topic for me because like a lot of people were saying it's akin to like when
Rodney King.
Request link or name and comment so I can speak usefully. Link.
What do you mean?
I don't know what you mean, Chris. I mean, I got my phone in my hand. You can just text me because I don't really know what you mean right now. But request link or name and comment. So
trying to get on?
If you want to hop on, you can hop on. Like, I'm all about it.
What you mean?
I'll connect my Bluetooth and bring you in for a call. But just let me know. Well, I haven't seen the footage.
Oh,
okay.
Check his page. It's on your page.
If you go to my page and scroll down, it's like probably 6 down from the top or whatever. It's a link that I shared from my my homeboy Derek. But see, so the thing about it is like a lot of times, like I try to be, just tag him in that post. I try to be really objective about things, right? Like it don't matter who it is. Like when it was what's his name? What's the kid in Wisconsin that had shot the dude at the protest and shit like that? Like people was like, oh, this and that, da da da. I was objective about it and was like, nah. You know what I mean? Like people blowing it out of proportion and this and that. And that was around the Ahmaud Arbery time when it's like that's not really the fight right there with I can't think of the kid's name off the top of my head. My mind's everywhere. But that wasn't the case. The Ahmaud Arbery case was the real case of like this is fucking murder. This is egregious, right? And when I look at this one, it's like a lot of times you try to wait until you get the video. Chris, you just got tagged. When I look at the video of this, I can't see like a place to play devil's advocate to say like, well, maybe we need to wait for this to come out and maybe we need to wait for that to come out. Like I can't see nothing that's like I've seen enough. Like I think the post I made, unless God himself come down and tell me that what I'm seeing is wrong, I can't see a place to be like to hear any like I need to see any more
reasonable whatever the fuck you're gonna say there was probable cause. I mean, no, it wasn't. Really wasn't. You drug the man out of his car. You didn't tell him why he was being arrested. You didn't.
It's so much crazy shit about it too, because like a lot of people now saying like because it's starting an argument about like, oh look, well these was black police officers. Well, most people wasn't making an argument talking about like when people get into that shit about all cops and this and no, the problem is this, right? The problem is this. If
you're gonna say like they wasn't making the argument that it was just like white cops against.
Like you people making it like, oh well, look now it's black cops, this and that. Well, the problem is the police force in general is not. Don't nobody give a fuck. Like that's why they call them the boys in blue. Like we're not talking about whether or not it's male or female. We're not talking about whether. Well, most people ain't talking about. We're talking about the fact of what happens is you have a lot of untrained people that don't have a respect for life. You know what I mean? They got a chip on their shoulder. And I understand the police have a really tough job. Like I'm not ignorant to that to be like, oh, well, they just wilding this and that. Well, if they scared, I get in times when they scared for their life or something. But let me tell you something. 5 big ass dudes run up on a 145-pound, 29-year-old man. I'm gonna tell you right now, I run up on him by myself. I'm not fearing for my life. So I don't really want to hear that. And it's like they stomping him and kicking him. He's in cuffs and they still stomping him and kicking him. It's like you can't justify that. You upset?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You upset. Yeah.
You upset, you cool. Like that's pussy shit.
You gonna feel a certain way because
yeah,
he
like
didn't
them five
comply with
dudes.
what you said to do.
Yeah, like
He
say
didn't
what you.
break that. He didn't break. That's not a law. Okay.
And then when people say like, oh well, why didn't he just comply? Because when they first start beating on him, he ran.
Fucking
First of all,
terrified.
let
I
me
run
thump.
for help
First of all,
too.
anybody who feel that way, let me thump your ass in the mouth a couple times and let me see if you don't decide like maybe I should run. You know what I'm saying? So it's like people are fearing for their fucking life dealing with the police, and it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah.
When law enforcement, that's not the feeling you should have. I should feel the same way about law enforcement that I feel about firefighters.
Yeah.
Like when a firefighter show up, don't nobody
I
say
don't
like
feel like, oh, I'm gonna
nobody.
die
You
today.
ain't heard
Like,
a song
no.
called "Fuck the FD."
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Like because it's like they come in and then you got like I forgot old boy who was like Alabama, Florida, will say, well, if you don't like the police, next time you get in trouble, call a crackhead.
Right.
No, you can still be held accountable just because you have a position and you have a tough job. Like, guess what? In the military, we still get charged with war crimes.
Right.
Like if we do wild shit, and that's that's most countries, especially if you're anywhere in NATO. Like, so it's still a way that you have to conduct yourself on all out war. So it's like when you in all out war where kids are picking up rocket launchers, women are pulling whatever they can out, explosives underneath in the car. Yo, we still have to conduct ourselves a certain way. So it's like I get it when police fear for their life. I get it when they make bad calls, like when somebody reach for something and then it's like, oh shit, well I ain't know, I'm scared. It's this and that. I had a bad day. But it's no way like looking at this video that I could say like I justify the behavior of these 5 men.
No, you can't justify that in any way. So back in the day, there was a study done amongst prisoners who were who were convicted of cop killing. And it was a priest and another scientist, I believe, or researcher came in to do this type of study. And it really came down to the fact of what they saw was that they targeted those cops who were killed were the ones that was deemed, oh, this was a friendly cop, or this was a cop that was doing right in the community, or this was a cop. So they found like this, they feel like they're weak. Okay. So they found like they're weak and there was an easy target.
Well,
so then,
the crazy thing about that is they do the same thing like in the Middle East, right? Like, so say for instance, if me, you pick 10 other people or something like that, we on the squad, we out here knocking doors, you know what I'm saying? We going door to door, clearing rooms and everything like that. Now, if I am an asshole, people in combat, like when I'm dealing with like people like the locals and this and that, if they know that I shoot first, ask questions later, they're not gonna fuck with me. Yeah. But if you the nice cop,
right?
If you're the nice one, that's the one. Like even if you look at like a movie like I want to say Hurt Locker puts it in perspective. They took this chaplain out or a psychologist or whatever. He was an officer, no combat experience. They take him out or whatever, and then he wound up getting blown up or some shit like that. But they blew him up because he's the weakest link. So I mean, I get what you're saying about that. Go ahead.
Yeah, so basically, and all that we were dealing with in society in the 90s, so the era turned everything into teaching these police to have this warrior type mindset, right? And so there was basically like, you have to be the one showing the dominance in any situation, right? So any civilian, you have to kind of see them as, well, I don't know, they can be an assassin, they could be this, they can be that, so I need to protect myself at all costs.
An assassin is wild.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying,
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm just saying. So those are the type of things, and they were taught, in some of their trainings that this is what they had to do according to what I was reading. So I was like, okay, well, I can understand that, and them not wanting to be casualty when they are out there trying to do their jobs. But I think it goes beyond that now to the point where you have an ego problem. And
well, I look at
egos being checked when nobody is, when you're in a place of authority, then that's when shit like this happens.
I look at it like this. I never did true law enforcement, right? Like obviously I did. I've been in combat zones, and I've also been a special conservative of the peace, which is pretty much just a glorified security guard with a gun who can arrest people and shit like that when I was in Virginia. So I understand the whole thing about like, I got to watch your back because at the end of the day, you got my back. So if you do some dirty shit, it's like, I get it. I got to kind of like have a little bit of leniency about the dumb shit you do. Because at the end of the day, when 5 or 6 dudes start shooting at me, you the one who got my back. And if you decide like, fuck it, I'm gonna get in the car and roll off, I'm in a bad situation. So I understand the brotherhood nature of that, right? Especially when you got a job like that. But I think a lot of, and I'm not one of them people, just to make it clear for anybody who don't know me, I'm not one of these people who just say like, fuck the police and everything else. No, I think that most people join the police force with the idea of making a difference, protecting people, serving and protecting. I think that's what most people do. Just like most people join the military to do great things. It just so happens that either A, dirtbags get through the cracks and people get corrupted and do wild shit.
Get corrupted and you feel like, well, can't win. Might as well join them or
Yeah,
whatever.
but I understand about like if you're taking
But
dirty money.
what I don't like is the whole dominate or die type of mentality that some of these trainers teach the police officers.
Yeah, I don't know if that's actually what it is because like I
Mhm.
don't have like I said I haven't been in law enforcement, but in fact here we go, boom, my boy Jim right here, right? Jim had a whole career in law enforcement, still in the schools and everything teaching. So he definitely ran because he feared for his life. Those videos were appalling. I wouldn't even call them cops. They were thugs with badges, go against the very oath we swore to uphold. There's a
Mhm.
proper balance in policing, escalate and de-escalate as needed. You're still a human. What you project is what you receive. Exactly.
Mhm.
So now, and this is
Yeah.
what the thing that they don't understand too, that they're making harder for police. So now, what happens when you pull me and a couple of my boys over? We having a, hey, thank God we made it out of Afghanistan. We make it out of Bagram, Afghanistan party or some shit like that. And then you come over and you the police and you escalate. Now we thinking about that. You know what I'm saying? Now we like you're just making everything harder for everyone because now I'm on edge.
Yeah.
You more on edge.
Right.
And the shitty part about it is if you're a local police officer, there's a 99.9% chance that I'm a better shot than you. So it's like, and I'm quicker on the draw than you. And I'm already on edge or whatever. So it's like, it is a good chance that you're going to get your ass smoked if it comes to a gunfight. So you putting people in, like you putting fellow Leos in a shitty position. And then you put people in a shitty position because it's like, you shouldn't be afraid to call the police because somebody might wind up dead.
Somebody might wind up dead. Exactly. Yeah.
And it's like, and they do that, and like, and then it's the thing that I don't understand, and the whole discussion is like, so 3 of these dudes were part of Omega Psi Phi. They was Qs. So they bring it up and say, Omega Psi Phi need to make a statement. For fucking what? I don't think that Omega Psi Phi need to make a statement. One of the dudes had his bracelet on from Omega Psi Phi, apparently, in the video.
Lord.
But I don't think they need to make a statement because at the end of the day, if 9 dudes that graduated from Stanford go on a killing spree, does Stanford need to make a statement?
Right.
Like, at what point is like that ain't our fucking fault? Like,
yeah, they have to be accountable for their own
they're accountable.
actions.
Like
It has
everybody
nothing
is
to do
accountable
with
for their
the
own
fraternity
actions.
or organization in which they belong to. I mean, they can say that they can go for the record and say, well, this is not, they don't represent our foundings, our teachings, or anything like that. They can say something like that if they choose to, but it's not something that they necessarily have to do.
Yeah, I don't feel as though it's a necessary statement. If they want to go out and say it or they feel the need to say it, sure. But don't get moved because public opinion is saying that you need to say something like, because you need to denounce this. No, like this is clear cut that these motherfuckers, these 5 dudes is trash. They wild pussy.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? These are the type of dudes that these are the type of dudes that you meet that is
It's
like,
so crazy. You hear the one on there, oh, my knee, your knee.
Yo, knee.
Your knee.
How you think this young man, like this young man
man
dying out here? And then 2 people from the fire department, they got fired as well because they were the first people on site rendering aid or whatever. And another comment by Jim. There's a mix in law enforcement. Majority join to be a part of something bigger than themselves. Then a minority are the ones that were picked in and bullied and whatnot, became cops to get the respect they feel they deserve. Yeah. There's a difference between standing in front of the badge and behind it. Exactly.
So do you think that the ones that experience that in their youth are the ones that are causing these type of crimes or committing these types of crimes?
Yeah, I think it's this. I'll give Jim some time to answer that, but I think it's the same shit. Like when I tell the kids that come in the military, right? They're coming in the military, and like when I was over there running that a more administrative position for discipline and good order. Like when you talk to them, they're coming in, they be talking, oh, I'm from LA, I'm from Atlanta, and this and that. So they come in my office, you know what I mean? I talk to them like, hey man, what's going on? Yo, they brought you in here because of this and that? No, this is my fucking office. That's why I'm in here. So why don't you have a seat? I'd rather stand. I'm like, all right, well, I'm telling you right now, you puff your chest up too much, it's a long fucking fall. So it'd be good to just sit down because we could both sit down and then you could at least see me jump up before I get on your ass. Right? And then they're like, well, I mean, you can't do that. I will fuck you up. You'll lose a fight and a strike. Like, don't get it fucked up. We could talk like regular ass people when I de-escalated, or you can come in here with all this tough guy shit and fuck it. I'll throw my whole career away to knock you back in your daddy dick. This is so worth it to me. So I'm that guy, right? So it's like if you want to take it to squabbles and you forget that I'm a grown ass man and put my legs on, but put my pants on one leg at a time. Okay, I'm more than willing to prove it to you. But what happens with that is like you get a lot of these kids. What happened is a lot of these people, they wasn't tough when they were supposed to be tough. So now when they get the opportunity to have an unfair advantage,
you got to make it up.
Yeah, it's like those dudes you see when they acting tough when they like 45. Oh, because you wasn't tough when you was 19. You was getting your ass drugged. You was getting swirlies in the bathroom. People was taking your coat in the wintertime. You was getting beat out of your coat, hat, and shoes and shit.
Your Timbs.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You was getting your Timbs snatched off. You walking home barefoot in the middle of a fucking snowstorm. It's like, so them are the dudes now that's like, well, now I'm that guy, I'm this and that. And it's just like when people lie to themselves about anything else, you know what I mean? Like in a relationship, in any situation or something, people lie and tell themselves the lie of that story so much
that they actually
that they
believe
believe
it.
it. And
It becomes their truth.
yeah, it becomes their truth, which ain't the fucking truth because
Clearly
there's an objective truth.
delusional.
And
Yeah,
100%. Clearly delusional.
Yeah. I don't think people pay too much attention to that though about themselves, obviously, because they don't want to be in the wrong. But
because it's hard it's hard to look at yourself. If everybody really took time to get to like anybody who feel like they wildly mistreated and everything else, I think if they took the time to realize everybody is really the bad guy in their story, but nobody wants to be the bad guy.
What do you mean they're the bad guy?
Well, I'm saying like I'm the bad guy in my life story. You're the bad guy in your life story. Like you might have got mistreated and wronged and this and that, but a lot of shit you allowed to happen.
I see what you're saying.
A lot of shit I allowed to happen. I didn't have the courage to do something. I made piss poor decisions, and
the know-how, or
whatever the case may be. Exactly. So I'm the bad guy in my story. I caused a lot of this shit to happen, right? All right. So,
all right, Jim.
The boy Jim said current issues are proper higher standards, quality of training, etc. I bet these Memphis guys have a history of complaint. Oh, it just jumped up on me.
It's right here.
Okay, yeah. Memphis guys have a history of complaint. This incident wasn't their first, just the one that made the news. There needs to be a full investigation and accountability held up the whole chain for overlooking this behavior.
So Absolutely. The FBI is involved. Their local, whatever they go through, internal investigation is involved. So in the FBI have their separate investigation that they're doing, and also the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation are also. So you have 3 different investigations going on separately about this incident.
But the only problem with that is just like Jim saying, it was probably enough of a reason that they should have been did this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Like, but a lot of this is going on everywhere, but is only select few that's going to be publicized.
And then this is one of them things for that people take the time to, like, people who don't have a bad encounter with law enforcement tend to think like, I've had very good encounters with law enforcement, very bad encounters, and neutral encounters. Like, for instance, when we got that speeding ticket, I was driving, got the speeding ticket, dude hopped on my ass. And I'm gonna be like, damn, he was pulling somebody else over. I flew by, didn't think none of it. He turned the sirens on. I'm like, can't be after me. He get behind me, pull over. First thing I tell him, yeah, I'm gonna play, yo, I got a firearm on me. He like, where's that? I'm on my way. He like, all right, cool. You don't touch yours, I don't touch mine. Fine, I'm good with that. Like, fine, I'm good with that. I told you this. You ain't say no crazy shit. You ain't try to get me out the car. You ain't seen him on edge. So that's why I felt comfortable telling him that I had a firearm, because I'm not required to tell him. But I felt comfortable telling him, like, look, I got a firearm. You need to see my concealed weapon permit. I move slow, you know what I mean? This and that. At the end of the day, I just want us both to go home. I broke the law. I'm not gonna argue with you about like other people with speed and this and that. I broke the law. Fuck it. Give me my ticket. Let me go on about my business. Excuse me. Stops like that, I'm okay with. But then when you have shit like this, where it's like, dog, y'all pull up snatching me out the car. Like, I'm telling you right now, if that man had a gun on him and decided to start firing on police,
he would have been within his damn right to do that.
He would have got buried. He probably would have got buried under the jail if they didn't have the body cam footage, because he was a cop killer, and that's just the way it goes.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But yeah, so it's like, if you come to me that hostile, I don't give a fuck if you're a police officer. Like, if you come to me that hostile, at the end of the day, I understand you got a tough job. But that mean that's not me. That don't mean I'm willing to sacrifice my life for your demons. So it's like, if you pull me over and you go crazy and you going crazy or something like that, I'm gonna send you to whoever the fuck you believe in, just like you trying to send me. Right. Guess what? My will to live is stronger than your will to live. I guarantee it.
As a former corrections officer.
Okay, oh, sorry. There you go.
This angers me. I've spent hours de-escalating situations. What I saw in that video was the police escalating the situation.
Exactly. Absolutely, Kev. Chris, for fuck's sake, I got sick to my stomach 5 minutes into that video. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then Jim, in regards to current law enforcement, the majority in leadership positions aren't leaders. That flows downhill. As far as new recruits being hired, there's a ton being hired that, I guess you're saying, actively hate law enforcement. People are joining for a job when it's a career. Younger generation can't have face-to-face conversations. It's not what they used to. The trainer has caught up to them and helped them. The trainer hasn't caught up to help make them well-rounded. Yeah. Now, that's a true perspective that I haven't thought about. Like, you get into these younger generations, like, young people can't hold the conversation with a stranger. Like, you know how we can go somewhere, and if you met somebody if you were just out somewhere, you went to a lounge, you was just chilling, you was like, yeah, I'm gonna just stop here, have a drink. And then a guy or a girl walk over and be like, hey, how you doing? You could just have a conversation with them. I could just have a conversation with them, like, dude, or whatever. Like, the same way at the gym, like the guy I met from Denmark or whatever. Me and him had a conversation, found out he sell horses, this and that. He asked me about deadlifts and all this other type of stuff. And it's like, cool, shook a hand, took a picture with him, you know what I mean? All this type of stuff. But it's but that's just like the ability that we had from being in an era where we couldn't avoid conversations.
Yeah.
So you might as well have got good at it. But I think now, like conversations with people hasn't become a skill that's needed because people can hide from it.
Behind their screen.
Yeah, like we couldn't hide from it before. Like if I had a grievance with you, I had to either be a pussy and say it around the people who or the people around me and hope you never hear about it, or I got to come to you and say it. Like it wasn't no type some tough shit on the internet. Or
it reminds me of this little meme I saw on I think it was on Facebook too, and it was a coffee shop, and the sign basically said, "No, we don't have Wi-Fi. Sit down and talk to people like we used to in the 90s."
Yeah, which I think is fire because I think it's such an underrated skill to just have conversations with people. Like I think having conversations with strangers. Now, not fucking weirdos. Like, granted, there's weirdos in the world and this and that and the third, but just having a conversation with a complete and utter stranger, just about random stuff that you don't even know. Like, I don't know a lot about horses.
Right.
Like, I asked this dude, he told me, I can't remember I can't remember the type of horses. At the time, I just remembered that those were expensive horses. But he was talking about he sell horses or whatever. And I learned that like he sells the horses around 15 years old because 10 to 15 is when they're like manageable for like an older person, like the woman he was selling them to. That she stayed like within our vicinity of where we live at. And on top of that these horses on average live to about 20, give or take, right? Like if you don't take care of the horse, it dies early. If you take care of the horse, maybe he's 22, 23 or whatever. And just like I learned something about that, and the dudes from Denmark, we talked about like I was in Denmark before because it's the Air Force base out there, and I forgot how you pronounce it, but it's Thule. But yeah, it's just like people don't have that skill set to be able to go because it's like remember I told you like I thought I would be phenomenal at law enforcement, and then you reminded me that I'm not doing it.
No,
but I think I would be phenomenal at law enforcement. But my biggest problem is this: is like it's the same issue I had when I was like I was overseas. Not gonna say what country, not gonna say which unit, not gonna say which deployment, because that's irrelevant. But had a guy, part of the team or whatever, you know what I'm saying, and he tried to snatch up. And granted, I grew up Muslim, so it's also a soft spot for me. But when we was going door to door, we went to a house. He snatched up one of the women, and he was gonna go and grape this woman because he's like, these fucking towel junkies don't deserve nothing. Because the dude tried to hit us at the door when we came in, so obviously somebody unalived him in my unit, and so forth and on. But so we there, and it's just women and children, and he's like, man, I ain't had none in a while, this and that, da 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 da. And I'm like, we ain't doing that. He up here like, bro, I ain't got no ass, this and that, da. I don't care, we ain't doing that. So if you really feel as though you can't, if you really feel as though you want to do that, fine, all you gotta do is fight me for it. And he'll be like, oh, this is because you Muslim? No, this is because I'm a human being.
Fucking person.
Like, this is a human being. It doesn't matter if this woman was Jew, Christian, Gentile, Buddhist, whatever. It's like, no, we don't do that. Like, we're better than that. Right? And that's the type of thing where it's like, you can hold that accountability to people in person. And it's easy for me to hold that accountability in person. What I would say is that it's tough to hold people accountable when you're not there in that position.
That's true.
Because people out there holding a tough job.
So we're missing a few comments here, so we just
gotta
catch up. You gotta go up.
You don't know how to use MacBook. Okay, we got Chris Wright. The fact that the job is hard should mean fewer people should have it. They're just hiring anybody looks like, I guess
maybe because of the fact that crime that
crime
is so rampant, it's escalating. So they need people who want to do the job. They do have to train them better, though. That's one thing. They can't just not have anybody. So you can't just not have anybody. So the thing is the training, the training and those who actually want to do the job to do it.
I think it's like, I honestly want to say, like, not knowing any better, right? Like, I'm armchair quarterbacking this, right? But I think it's one of them things where it's like the training is bad. Because when you compare our training here to like countries I've been to, where it's like some countries it take people 2 years of training before they become, because it's a crazy thing to tell some dude, go to school for a couple months, or girl, like a woman, whatever, you know what I mean, a man or a woman, you know what I mean, you tell them like, hey, I want you to go do this job and you're going to enforce the law, but you don't need to know the law. I feel like law enforcement should have a good understanding of the law.
The thing you're trying
to I think some of the training should really be around the way we do it in the military, with lessons learned. It's like, hey, 8 out of the 10 last arrests got blown because you stupid clowns didn't read them the Miranda rights. We have to read Miranda rights, or we have to conduct ourselves like this. So you conduct the training, and it got to be real training because you're dealing with people's lives. Like, this ain't training where you like, oh, well, you didn't put the leg on the refrigerator, so it's lopsided. No, like, we talking about changing people's lives. Like, that young man had a 4-year-old son.
Yep.
He was like 100 yards away from his mama house.
Imagine this now. Mommy, what happened to daddy? He was killed, son, or whatever. Okay, how was he killed? The police. Imagine how that 4-year-old boy gonna feel about every police officer that drive by.
And then also imagine when he gets older and starts meeting some gang members that say, fuck the police.
Yeah.
That young man is going, like, you dealing with your credibility and your credential. That's why, like, I'm hard on cats in the military about stuff, because we go out here and people will look at us a certain type of way because we got the cloth. Like, I could tell you that, like, my stops and interactions with so many people are different between when I'm in uniform and when I'm in regular clothes. Like, there's 3 types of different interactions I have. There's one when I'm in uniform. 99% of the people, thank you for your service. Thank you for your support, ma'am. You know, man, sir, this, that, and third. Cool. Good interaction. Then it's like the interaction when you see me in a suit. And it's like, oh, well, he probably does something, you know, this and that, how you doing? How you doing? You know, it's like almost like a mutual respect. But then when I come up in jeans, a hoodie, and Tim's, it's like,
what you doing here?
Right? You know what I mean? You know, the whole interaction is different, right? But the thing is, I know that the respect that cloth brings with it, it's only 2 reasons that they feel that way when they see me. One, that cloth already got its respect. That military uniform already got it. It don't got shit to do with me. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, I make that shit look good. So, you know, I'm a killer. Well, no, so.
There you go.
All right, so
delete that out of the podcast.
All right, so Jim said correct. Every department this is what you was talking about the investigations. Mm-hmm. Correct. Every department gets investigated by their state police, TBI in this case. TBI. I don't know what TBI
Tennessee Bureau of Investigation.
Oh yeah, Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. Yeah, that makes sense. These guys were in unmarked vehicles and plain clothes. Yeah, they was out here in hoodies. Bro, you run up on me in a hoodie, you might meet God.
Yeah, they were a part of a unit.
They closed that whole task force down.
Scorpion, which was like
that should sound like a gang.
Stopping crime in our something.
Stopping crime and penetrating and I don't know the moment.
Into our neighborhoods, something like that.
Yeah, not readily identified as law enforcement. Typically in these crimes units, I've ran them. We use marked cars and ununiformed personnel to make the initial stop. Then we speak to the subject after the stop. From what I'm hearing, their stop wasn't even justified, let alone all the actions afterward. That's true. They still trying to figure out why the hell they pulled them over anyway.
Street crimes operation to restore peace in our neighborhood.
The motherfuckers ain't restoring nothing.
Right.
In the neighborhood.
So the whole thing is shut down, and I can see why. No, they didn't have a reason to stop. So what they were saying, if you listen to the video, he was driving like this and then turned and then, you know, and I tried to tell him, get out of the car. You can get the car. So we was like, what bro doing?
But this the other thing about it too is just like, yo, if you don't tell me, you can't just pull up as a law enforcement and tell me to get out the car.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have that type of authority. Like, at the end of the day, you're a public servant. Like, you don't get to just tell me that pull up on me and say, get the fuck out of the car. No. And then also, too, there's a bit of decorum and respect that you have to have, and a certain type of respect and leniency that you have to have for people being like, it sucks, but it's customer service. Like, being law enforcement is customer service. Like, you pull up and it's not like you have to enforce the rules and all this other stuff. But one, you need to know the rules before that, know what you can legally do and not do before you violate people's constitutional rights, not their privileges. Their constitutional rights.
Nobody deserves to die because they didn't listen to you to get on the ground.
Even if the dude ran, if he ran just because if he had dope in the car and he ran, y'all don't get to, like, law enforcement, you do not get to execute the death penalty on there. Like, you are not judge, jury, and executioner for resisting arrest. You're not judge, jury, and executioner for fleeing a scene. You're not judge, jury, and executioner. You get to be judge, jury, and executioner for life-threatening situations. That was nothing about that seemed life-threatening.
Oh, the man was running away from you, actually.
Kev said sad state police became enforcement officers when they used to be peace officers. Flatfoots are the thing of the past. Now we have militants and cruisers. Absolutely. Yeah. That goes back to what we talked about on another podcast about policing your community.
Yeah.
Because what happens when you police your community is like, I pull up on you. And now it's like, say, for instance, you're driving a certain way. Like, this is really, and I think if you ask anybody who done law enforcement, this is probably how it should go. Not saying that this is the way, this is by the book, but it's like, say, for instance, I pull you, like, you have an argument at the house. They called me for a domestic dispute. I pull up, this and that. Y'all doing the yelling, fussing. And I pull up. I'm like, Fox, what the hell you doing? And you like, well, legend, well, he was yelling at this and that. You in there with your, hey man, is y'all good? This and that. And if it's not a crazy situation or something like that, to be like, hey, you sitting here fussing at the kids. Yeah, she came home and she did this and that. All right, well, let's go ahead and calm this in. Let's take it inside. Let's talk about it. Give me a warm fuzzy and I'll roll and stuff like that. Because just like
I imagine it's like that in some of these small
yeah, when you
towns.
dealing with people, because in them small
Everybody know
towns, in those small
everybody.
towns, like you
Know the
know me, like
police
me and you
officer.
went to school together. I'm not about to pull up on you, but now when you have so much law enforcement that's enforcing the law around people they don't know, they don't have a relationship,
Right.
so they don't even know how to deal with the people that they're around. Like these dudes, like people would just assume, like, well, they black and he black. Well, all black people ain't the same,
Right.
just like all white people ain't the same. All Asians ain't the same. This and that. So it's like you deal with people, and people forget that they get in the power, they get in positions of power, and just forget exactly what they're supposed to do and who people are. Oh, slide this up. You cannot scroll this thing up to save your life. Jim, I arrested plenty of dirty, shitty cops in my career. There's no place for them. Exactly. It's like police have a tough enough job. Like, and for people who don't think police have a tough enough job, I don't agree with you, because you're asking police to do a whole lot of shit with a little bit of training.
Yeah.
It's like, say what you want. Like, people say dumb shit like they should have shot him in the leg when they shoot somebody, or they should have did this and that. And then what happened when they miss because they shitty shots and they missed the leg and then wind up hitting your kid? You have a whole different opinion on that. You know what I'm saying?
True.
So you want people to operate to their training and the ideas they're training, right? So law enforcement got a really tough job. Like, you're trying to enforce laws. You're trying to enforce the laws that in the law, and like when you look at the law codes and stuff like that, like think about the knowledge in school that lawyers go through, like criminal defendants and prosecutors. You're talking about they going to years and years and years and years of school, and then you're gonna pump somebody out in a couple months to be like, better know all that shit, buddy.
Do what you gotta do.
Do what you got to do. It's almost like them damn nurses. Like, remember them nurses? It was like 70 or 7,000 or 8,000 or either 80,000, something like that. But all them nurses that got fake fake certificates in Florida. Yeah, it was like it was an ass whack. It was either 7,000 and some change, or 70,000 and some change.
So what do they do with them?
I don't know what they're gonna do with it. I haven't looked back into it. We probably should talk about it next podcast. But basically, it's a whole bunch of people who became nurses and they just paid like 15 grand to get all this shit, and then they just took the test and became nurses. Which explains why
they did their clinicals
at. All that shit got blown off. Like, basically, you went to Fox School of Nursing. I show up to Fox School of Nursing. I pay you 15 grand. You're credentialed, so you give me a certificate saying, "Hey, legend, you're ready to go to be a nurse." And then I take the test and I pass the test, which makes me question the fucking test. Like, you know what I'm saying? But it's the same thing like with law enforcement, where it's like, it's tough, man. The shit that we
no, it's good,
that we getting about. Hey, Jim, don't ever apologize for blowing up the feed, my brother, because your opinion truly matters. Because like a lot of people, we speculate.
Everybody's opinions kind of matter. Who has experience in this field? Which
like,
do have a few on here.
Well, I feel as though like the people. Everybody opinion matters, sure, in a perfect world, but the people who opinion matters in a situation like this,
that's why I said who has experience, and we have a few people on here.
Yeah, like we got a lot of people who got experience with law enforcement. Like, and Jim's fucking legit. Like, I'm telling you, if it came down to you want to talk to somebody about law enforcement, Jim would be one of the top 3 names I give you. But it's people that deal with law enforcement, and people who had interactions with law enforcement, because that's also like when Chris Wright was talking about it. You know what I mean? If you had interactions with law enforcement, that's your experience and that's your truth. That not even your truth. That's truly, I have no reason to believe that you're lying. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna believe that that's truth until proven otherwise, right? So where we were, okay, so Chris Wright, just talking about you. And the problem I have is that these cops aren't getting up that morning and deciding to kill people. There's a series of events that lead to that level of bullshit. Nobody is saying that. True.
Yeah.
I do not think that dudes is waking up like, I'm gonna catch a body today.
At least we hope not.
Today is the day that I'm gonna get my black heart right here. OG Bobby Johnson. So Jim, that's where defunding isn't the answer. It takes away from what is required to maintain or raise the standard. That training does happen. However, it's a basic level that isn't maintained. For example, I teach defensive tactics and driving, each in Virginia, and is a 40-hour block. They learn just enough to get themselves in trouble. Many departments don't build on that training, and individual officers, most won't seek their own training out. Yeah. That's the true same thing in the military. Yeah. And this Memphis part, you have 4 officers pulling. Oh, domestics. Was this supposed to be more? Oh, no. Okay. Jim, the comment that you had about defunding isn't the answer. I think that one was long enough that it might have cut off, unless this next one I'm about to read is part of it. Domestics are the most dangerous. Your attitude is how you approach it and can set you up for success or failure during an emotionally charged call. You have to get them from an emotional mindset to a logical one.
Yeah.
And then he said, sorry, don't ever be sorry about blowing up the feed, brother. That's what we need y'all to do. But yeah, so like I said, it's a tough job and I get it. But what people need to understand is like you have to have some compassion and humanity to understand that this man was unjustly killed, like running away just because you think that like, oh, all my encounters with law enforcement are good and I'm just a sheep and I listen to whatever anybody tells me and this and that, da da da. Okay, good, man. You know what I'm saying? You like good for you.
What did old boy say? I'm about to say Henry Combe. No, it's Tucker.
Tucker. Yeah. So on Fox News with Tucker Carlson, oh God, what's his name? Now I need to bring it up. Can't think of his name.
You just said it too. We were talking about it earlier.
Yeah, I just said it. And now I can't remember it.
Anyway.
So God,
he gets on Carlson.
It's on a text message, right?
Yeah, we got it on Carlson. And he basically states that women of all people, right? They get blamed for what happened to Tyree Nichols. Can you put
oh, you're talking about patch it into the what's the name?
Yeah, patch it into listen to what he says, guys.
Yeah, damn, well, I can't remember this dude's name. Oh, he was like, if you ever thought of the word coon, boy, this is the one that reminds me of that.
You got in?
Huh?
You got in?
Nope, it was unsuccessful.
All right, well, just put it to the thing. They can hear it from there.
Yeah, just give me a moment. Fox, talk or do something. I'm struggling over here.
No, I thought you already had it because I have it up right here anyway. So we'll just play it from here and then they'll be able to hear it. Oh, I got my
woman. And that's what they got going on in the Memphis Police Department. They've elected put some black woman in charge of the police force, and we're getting the same kind of chaos and disunity and violence that we see in a lot of these cities that are run by single mothers. If we want to discuss the breakdown of family that leads to disrespect for authority, that causes you to resist the police and run from the police and not comply with the police because you resist authority at all time because there was no male authority in your home. Now, how the fuck?
Exactly how I feel. Now, how the fuck?
Yeah, so anybody
how you gonna blame a woman, a single parent at that, of being the reason why there's resisting arrest, there's disrespecting the police is because of a woman, a single mother.
My thing is that
we just blame for everything.
My thing is this. So his name Jason Whitlock. Thanks, Ron. Appreciate you, brother. Jason Whitlock. So Jason Whitlock is, I don't know, man. This dude must make his lights are staying on because he's a coon. But what I'm saying is this is that, okay, so let's just do a statistic. Let's take all feelings out of it. Mm-hmm. Take all feelings out of it about, okay, well, maybe you're upset because you're black, this and that. So many people, a lot of people have been killed by the police. None or nearly none of them had a female police chief. Okay? So now what's the excuse?
No, leave it up to him. It's because the cities that's ran by women, we have a high rate, and it's causing this to happen.
Cool. So now let's do this for Jason Whitlock, coon ass. Let's do this. So by capita, black people were killed more by the police. By sheer numbers, like just numbers of people that were killed by the police, white people were killed more by the police. So what about all those white people that come from two-family homes? Since you obviously don't like black people, Mr. Whitlock. So what about all those white people that come from two-family homes that get murdered by the police? So what happened then? Like the math ain't mathing. Mm-hmm. This dude just like to say, like I'm gonna tell you this. I don't play the political shit, but I'm gonna tell you this. If you say some shit about people that you consider liberals or the black community, and Tucker Carlson stops talking, you're wilding, bro. Like you were wilding.
Because it sounds like he got turned down or something. He hate women or something. Because this is the most ridiculous comment I ever heard on TV. Next to Donald Trump's speeches, some of them.
Let me tell you something. I love my boy Jim.
I just can't believe it.
I love my boy Jim. He say, sadly, it seems if you can't blame it on race, the next item is gender.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
Like,
You
it's up
absolutely
for like, what's the next hot
Jim.
button? What's the next hot button?
Women. What's the next suppress? Women. Yeah. There you
go. Chris said, Chris Wright. He said, I saw old boy and immediately cut that shit off. He said, I immediately cut that shit off. I don't suffer with fools or coons. Yeah, I'm telling you right now, man. Like, I don't be saying like that. That he's the definition of Uncle Ruckus from Boondocks.
So it's the woman's fault for everything.
Nah, like that's foolishness, man.
Woman fault. The man ain't in the house. It's the woman's fault. They teaching their kids to disrespect the police. I'm sure.
No, and let me tell you something right now. Let me tell you something right now. Like, this is the sadness of it. Is like, it's sad that I teach my children that if they get pulled over somewhere by a police officer, in fact, dial it back one. So my ex-wife, she got pulled over by the police when we was in Rhode Island. And she got pulled over on a dark back road. So she called me. She's like, hey, the police trying to pull me over. I think they the police. I'm like, what you mean you think they the police? Either they fucking police or they ain't. She like, I don't know. They got lights like police, but it's a regular car. I'm like, keep on coming to the house. Mm-hmm. So she come to the house. She pull up. I'm already outside. I'm sitting there. You know, I got the mouse tool on me, just like they got the mouse. Oh, toodles. So, you know, they pull up and like, hey, man, what the fuck is her problem? I'm like, first of all, good evening, motherfucker. Like, you know what I mean? And we go there and he like, hey, I turned the lights on back there. I'm like, look at your car. You got an unmarked car on a dark ass road, because the road she was on, I knew it's no street lights, no nothing. It was about an old fuel farm that I used to hunt at. And I'm like, yo, ain't no reason. So she pull up and she'll be like, no, we need to talk to her this and that. You don't need to talk to her about nothing. If you're going to write a ticket, I'm going to tell her to stay right here. Are you writing the ticket? No, I want to talk to her. No, you don't get to just talk to my wife. Mm-hmm. Like, and I told her, go in the house. So I'm talking to him here, like, yeah, you got a real attitude problem. I'm like, you got a fucking problem. You drunk on power and you need to sober the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? And he like, well, I tried to pull over this and that. You are in regular clothes, in a regular car that just got some lights on. Anybody could do that. You could have took my old lady in the grass out there in the woods, raped her, killed her, did anything else, and I just wouldn't know what happened until they found her body months later. Get the fuck out of here, right? So people just got to understand that these aren't easy encounters, right? So the whole idea is like, if you pull up with power, humble yourself. Right. If you got the juice, humble yourself. There has to be a sense of humility. It's like being rich. Rich people don't flex and get the new Jordans when they come out. Mm-hmm. Rich people don't flex and be like, oh, look, you don't see Bill Gates out here pushing up on the Bugatti or the Ferrari line. Mm-hmm. You don't got to, because you got the power. As law enforcement, whatever you're doing, you got the juice. Why are you flexing? You know what I mean? Like, cut it out. Here we go. Jim said there's a huge mental health crisis in the communities and in law enforcement. Both. 100% agree, my brother. Mm-hmm. For example, I have a good friend that worked child sex crimes for over 10 years with no breaks. Worked hundreds of the cases, watching over thousands of hours of video on these crimes. He had a mental break that led to a heart attack and nightmares. The department did nothing to help him. They wanted to throw him back into the investigations unit after he got out the hospital. There was more to that comment. The domestic, that cut off too, Jim. So my bad. I guess I'm gonna tell you right now. We're gonna figure this out right now. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You get 12. You get 11 and a half lines before my feed cut you off. But and from what I heard, he came from a single mother home. Oh, he's talking about Jason Whitlock. That's what I'm talking about, boy. It be your own people, bro. Sadly, it seems you can't play. We talked about that with Jim, Chris Wright. Oh, yes, a ass too. My thing is this, man. Like, I'm gonna keep it 100, man. Like, I think that, like, I'm telling people 100%. If you know me well enough, you understand that I'm pro-black, but I'm not anti anything. I'm pro-black. I'm pro unity. I'm pro brotherhood. I'm pro sisterhood. Like, I'm pro positivity, right? So the thing about it is say all you want about all the foolishness and this and that, but I'm not about that shit, man. Like, people just want to point fingers, and it's like, all right, what's your solution, boy? Like, what's your solution? I don't respect a man like Jason Whitlock. Like, Jason Whitlock, you say whatever you want. Be happy I'm not famous, because I'll be on Jason Whitlock ass so much that he'll probably say something crazy enough to go get his head split. But I mean, like, the thing about it is people just lack compassion. People lack understanding, because people just so angry and hurt for whatever reasons, and just want to find reasons to divide each other.
Don't really think about what the hell you're saying on a national platform. Like, I wonder what is his mama alive? First of all,
I was about to say I hope not, but God forbid, I ain't gonna say that.
I know she'll be ashamed of her son right now.
She got to be. You got to be like, you saying, oh, they
How
come
dare
from
you.
single woman houses. Like, shut
This
up,
is
bro.
why, 'cause there was no men present.
Yo,
Like, it's her fault. Okay.
This is a perfect example. Jason Whitlock is the male version of a woman who does nothing but OnlyFans. You got zero talent, my guy. You have zero talent. Like, at least I can say this about Tucker Carlson. He got talent. He got presence. This and that. Whitlock just goes for the shock and awe, the flame and spray, this and that. Get out of here, bro. Jim, it's how the generations are being brought up. When I grew up in New York, I was told find a cop that'll help you. So when I became a cop, people point and tell their kids, I'll take I'll take them to jail. Yeah. That starts the fear-hate process at a young age.
That's true.
But the thing about it is like when some shit like this happen, how can you tell people in that Memphis neighborhood where this happened at?
It's safe.
That it's safe to go talk to the police when they just killed your big brother, your cousin, your neighbor, your whatever. So it's like this is almost like a chicken and egg situation.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's just ridiculous.
So it's kind of like what happens first is like if people don't say bad shit about the cops, they gonna act right, or if the cops act right, people ain't gonna say shit bad about the cops.
Damn if you don't. That's how it feels. That's exactly
so you got to do. And then what I was about to say earlier after that comment is like it's sad that like
it's scary because at the end of the day, if we encounter something where we really need help and you have that much fear instilled in people, they're not going to get the help, or they're going to deal with their own selves, right? Yeah. And it's going to be even more of a problem
because it's like you don't deal with the cop. That's why people go into the neighborhoods, and this isn't unfounded though. Look up a dude named Michael Dean.
What is it unfounded?
It starts with a different conversation. Hey Chris Wright, give a little more background on that because I'm not gonna have a chance to look it up right now.
You got 11 lines.
Yeah, I got 11 and a half lines. But yeah, so what happens is it's like what comes first, the chicken or the egg in that situation where it's like, yeah, it's tough for law enforcement. It's also tough for people because at the end of the day, don't nobody want to die. Like the cop that go out and work, he don't want to die. He got family. The dude that winds up getting the dude that get pulled over, he don't want to die. He got family, or the woman, or whatever, like the person, right? Like we're talking about people here at the end of the day. So it is what it is, man. And I get like it's a tough situation, but them motherfuckers, those dudes right there. Hey, I ain't got no mercy for them dudes, man. Like ain't no spot for holler for them.
Like this is what the legacy your family has to deal with now because of the stupid ass decision you made. Like how you feel about that?
Oh, you talking about like if they kid in school
to look at you. Right. You got kids. They're young men. So I'm sure that they have families,
Yeah,
that's and your possible. Kids, especially, is going to look at you like, dang, my dad did this. Imagine what they're going to go through in school.
Yo,
You're not doing this just for you. You're doing it for everybody whose lives you touch at the end of the day.
Imagine being a kid, right? So imagine being a son or daughter. And then me and you are the little brother of old boy that got killed and they got to go to school with us.
Oh, wow. Oh, shoot. That's a rivalry for years.
Yo, we get
it's decades
dragging for generations.
The McCoys and whoever the hell else.
Oh yeah, like we out here, the McCoys and the Joneses, baby. We out here, generational beef. Like it's up here. Every time I see you, it's on site. Prom on site.
Anybody in your family?
Homecoming on site.
Women and child.
I'm talking about. I pull up to your family reunion. I'm egging it. Football games, whatever.
At the corner store, at
whatever.
Dixie.
Oh, you at the movie theater that I go to when Wakanda come out. You know what I'm saying? Black Panther come out, thumping your ass out here. Like I'm on your ass, bucko.
That is terrible.
Like you know what I'm saying? And we don't think like the sins of the father, man. Like what we doing to our kids when we make these decisions. And that's something that I know that men and women probably both have to do, but I speak on the man part is like you really got to think about the decisions that you make, how it affects all the people
you touch,
because it's like, say for instance, I go do some dumb shit. Let's say for instance, I go do some dumb shit to make the news and this and that. It affects my wife.
Yep.
It affects the kids. Damn. It affects my friends. It affects my family. You know what I'm saying? It affects all of these people around there where now people busting on the door with my wife. Yo, what's up? This and that. Your husband, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? People running up on my brother. Running up on my brother in Hawaii. Hey, let's talk about your brother. You know what I'm saying? They running up on my cousin in Atlanta. You know what I mean? They run up on all these people with the kids. Yeah. My kids in school getting questioned or something like that by grown-ass reporters and stuff like that. Like, it's tough, man. Like, we got to think about the decisions that we make. When we go out here and we just want to feel like tough guys, like, oh, I feel like a cowboy or something. Bro, stop watching them fucking movies, man. That ain't your job out here.
The wives, when they go to work, honey, imagine what the office going to be talking about.
Yeah.
The wives going to be going through it at work.
Yeah, they're going to be giving their ass the business.
They're going to be ashamed.
So
all I see in the end of that was, oh, you ran away from me. I'm going to show you who's boss. That's it.
Yeah, and you know what? Yo, dog, the dude who ran from you,
You
it
get
ain't
what I'm
their fault
saying.
that your dick small. It ain't their fault that your wife beat you. It ain't the fault that you're a cuckold or something like that. Like, that's your problem, bro. Work that shit out with your therapist. Don't work that shit out on the street.
Right.
All right. So Ron said he and Candace Owens on the same Down Blacks and Get Famous trip. Today it's about likes online and shaping a story to create a divisive conversation. Sadly, it's what sells. Yeah, true. It's like sex sells, division sells, the whole nine. You want it. I haven't looked much into like a lot of like some things that Candace Owens has said and has said that I've agreed with and haven't agreed with, but I can't think of much that Jason Whitlock said that I agree with. Like if he said the sky blue, I'm going outside to look for myself.
Just to make sure.
Just to make sure, because I think the coon might be lying. Jim, I worked in the Lower East of Manhattan. I would bring people on ride-alongs with me. Let them see it from different perspective. I worked high crime, poverty areas. It took time being in the communities, genuinely wanting to help. I've helped many kids and families through some tough times. You either have the passion to serve and protect or you don't. And that's the same thing I say. It don't matter if you do customer service.
You're brave, Jim.
Like if you do customer service, which law enforcement is customer service. If you do customer service, if it's not for you, don't do it. Like I'm not a customer service type guy. Because you coming in, you can say, you say enough wild shit to me, I'm gonna bust your ass in the head with everything behind this counter. So I don't do customer service. I'm not fit for it. I'm not fit for customer service at a level to deal with just any ignorant person that comes up. I'm not built like that. So I'm not going to put myself in that situation. So a lot of people got to think about that too. It's like, yo, just because when you take a job, honest days work for honest days pay. You can't take a job with ulterior motives or whatever else. Like you got to feel a job. Like, you know what I mean? Same thing with the military, anything else you're doing. Chris Wright said, sorry, dude, Michael Dean got shot in the head by a cop on a Temple. Shot a cop on Temple, Texas. Cop had a history of questionable behavior. A bad cop shouldn't be able to be around good cops if they weren't allowed to be there. Still hasn't been tried, and the tape hasn't been released. The problem isn't just bad cops. Now, you know what? I don't know if it's true, but Bunny was telling me that they're like mandated to give up that body cam footage.
Yeah, they have
So I don't know if it's body cam footage.
Yeah, they are mandated to do that. They have to keep it on, and they have to. I don't know if every.
They're supposed to keep it on, but she was saying that it's mandatory for them to release. Because I was like, yeah. I didn't know that. I thought it was just one of them things. Where it's like, hey, we think we're doing the right thing, or we're being open to the public. I didn't know it was a requirement.
They have to release.
And then it's like, in that case, then why they not doing it? I don't know enough about that case. Well, Michael Dean, you know what I mean? Excuse my ignorance, but
or maybe they did release it, but it's something that's not publicized. I guess it's not made public the way this is being made public. You know, like it's a big everybody having protests and things like that about it. I'm not sure.
And Chris said, "If ain't a rule if it isn't being enforced." That's legit.
Right.
That's valid, bro. Can't even argue with that. That's valid, bro. Yeah, like you can say something's a rule. Like there's a lot of laws that don't get enforced. So it's like, is it really a law? Like if there's no enforcement to it, then is it really a law? So
shame you got to press them to release things. You know, sometimes too.
At the end of the day, it's like when anybody do wrong, they want to cover their own ass. Like, you know, the type of conviction, you know, the balls it take, like, and I'm just saying balls, like the technical term, but you know, the balls it take to sit there and admit that you fucked something up, just in regular stuff, like to say you fucked something up at work. Like somebody be like, who did this? And they can't even tie it to you. Be like, yeah, that was me. That take some fortitude, you know what I mean? So let alone when it's something that's gonna cost you your livelihood or something like that. Like it's like, oh, because like even on this tape, when you look at these officers, at the end of that, they got the line immediately talking about, so he went to grab his gun. He was just like, that's a lie we going. Yeah, he went to grab my gun. You know what I'm saying? And it is your shit. It is all your shit you pay for. Yeah, I mean, like, but people just don't have that type of fortitude, man. Like people aren't built around courage and fortitude. People built around survival. Like, and that's what it come around. People built around survival. So some people don't understand that, like, the best way to survive, the best way for you to survive is to live in a manner in which you accept all of your actions, right? It's to live in a manner in which you accept all your actions. But a lot of people they don't have the discipline to do that, so they do a bunch of wild shit and then just deal with it.
Had enough of that.
Okay.
Got to you here, babe. Which relative would you rather talk to? One of your ancestors from 200 years ago or one of your descendants from 1,000 years from now? He might bark. We have a dog looking at us. He might bark.
He ain't gonna bark at me.
Act like he's not there.
He gonna bark at you. He don't respect you. 200 years ago.
Or 1,000 years from now.
I need some time to cook on that. What you got?
Okay. I would do 200 years ago for me.
Elaborate.
I don't know. I just liked when it comes to like family things, I like to learn about my past. I like to learn about because I feel like so much of that is lost in us, and I feel like I would know more sense of pride for myself and how I need to proceed moving forward. They had the tools that I need now to live this current life that I'm in right now. So that's why I would talk to them as opposed to talking to my descendants. So yeah, I just ended it. I would choose the 200 years ago because I need some help. I need my ancestors to help me this life. Okay, the people from I can warn them about some shit.
I'm gonna go with 1,000 years in the future.
What would you tell them?
It ain't about me telling them; it's about them telling me.
Oh,
like tell me the direction that the world going. Because my thing is this. Is that like I feel as though it's a lot easier for somebody call like I put myself in that position where who called me, right? So if somebody called me and I was 1,000 years in the future, like so somebody from the past called me and was like, yo. Well, you know what I mean? Somebody called me from the past 1,000 years and was like, yo, what's going on? I'm like, this is the shit that you should think about because I done read history. I done did this and that. I know this and that. These are the things that the world is moving towards. This is what you should be preparing yourself for. Okay, cool. This is what happens in this year. This is what happened in that year. And you didn't put a stipulation on how long the call is. So I'm sitting there talking to them and I'm getting this information. They're like, well, guess what? In 2025, you're going to go to war with China. In 2027, you're going to go to war with Russia. And you got this and that going on. And then such and such wins. And then the utopian society idea is gone. And all of this shit happens. So I feel when I put myself in a position of being the person that was called, I could help the person who's calling me 1,000 years in the past more than I can help the person who's calling me 200 years in the future. Okay. Because I don't know what the future is. So I can tell them this is what's going on now. And then they still have to like take that information and be like, oh, okay, cool.
Wait, what did you just say? You said you'd be more help to someone who's calling.
I would be more help to the person who is 1,000 years in the past, because like if I was the person, what I'm saying is I put myself in the position of the person being called when you said that, right? Yeah. So like I'm gonna call. So the question was for me to call somebody 1,000 years in the future or 200 years in the past. Yeah. So that means if I'm the person being called, this person's either 1,000 years behind me or 200 years in front of me. I don't got a lot for the person 200 years in front of me. The person calling me from you know what I mean? The person calling me 200 years in the future, I don't got a lot for you. I'm gonna tell you what it is right now, and that might be helpful. It might not be, but when you call me 1,000 years from the past, it's like, okay, this is what's important. This is so you can move accordingly. I would be way more helpful to the person who's 1,000 years behind me, calling me. Help him. You know what I'm saying? Like if a person called me from 1923, I got a lot more gas for him. You know what I'm saying? Than the person calling me from 2123. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I feel about that. Chris Wright said humanity won't be here in 1,000 years from now. Man, I'm a bit pessimistic. I don't know if you're pessimistic, my brother. You might be realistic. Right. Like, fuck around with it, but
it might be right.
Do you want to change your answer now that I gave you some enlightenment?
No, I like that. That's cool.
Stick what you're sticking with.
Hey, gun hold. So you guys, thank you for hitting them. You got me all hemmed up.
I just wanted to cuddle you.
Thank you for sitting with us at Uncle Legend's Corner. We do appreciate your support. Thank you guys for your participation as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you for your insight. All our police officers and ex-police officers, we really appreciate that. If you guys want to be on the show, want to be patched in through your calls, you can also do that. Let us know, text us, or hit us up at unclelegend@gmail.com. Peace.
One dog looking at you crazy. We done with the audio recording. You can go ahead.
Coco staring at us like, y'all show ended. I know that sound.
Like she can hear the music, right?
Yeah,
like,
well, she can. She's a dog. I'm sure she can hear it.
She can
like
hear
they winding down now.
Yeah, I watched the video on YouTube where I was learning how to whistle. You know how you do the loud whistle? Because I don't know how to do it.
You know how to do it now?
Nah, I ain't going to bash myself on the podcast right now. You can't even regular ass whistle. You can't whistle Dixie out this motherfucker. But no, so they had the one, you know, like this one, and then it's this one. So I thought that this one was more like if I needed to whistle or something in a shitty situation, this one would be more useful than what if I get a fucking shot in the hand or something? You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh my God,
I be thinking about
stuff like that.
Yeah, I be thinking about zombie apocalypse. Speaking of that,
y'all popping in. We already ended the podcast.
Yeah, we already ended the podcast.
I'll see y'all.
Speaking of that, Last of Us or whatever it's called, Last of Us comes on today.
Yeah,
well, it's on right now.
So we could
get on that HBO Max and talk about apocalypse, baby. But no, so I was learning how to do the whistle. The crazy thing is, I'm sitting in the bedroom and I'm doing the whistle, but it's not really coming through.
What
right?
You be doing when I'm not home? Be practicing crazy stuff like that.
I mean, is that the worst thing that a man could be doing while you going?
I'm proud of you.
Like, that's the worst thing that a man could be doing while you going? Like, dudes is doing
what? Survival skills.
Dudes is doing wild shit. And I'm out here trying to learn how to whistle with one hand real loud and shit like that. You up and that's what you doing. Like, you know,
how you spending your time when I'm
you know what I mean? I could be playing the game and beating off or something like that. And I chose to learn how to whistle so that, you know what I mean, I could be more effective in the zombie apocalypse.
And your cat calling? That's what
my cat.
It could be more.
I didn't even think about the cat calling. Hey, who looking for an intermediate construction worker so I can get my good cat calling on? Like, you know what I mean? I'll be out here. But no, I was doing that, and like when I wasn't even getting good sound out, they was barking like crazy.
Oh,
like,
the dog?
Yeah, all three of them.
Really?
Like I was like hitting like dog whistle type. Really? Like we're trying to do a podcast. Give me 5 more minutes, dogs. Thank you.
I can't whistle.
But no, it's like this because they tell you like you put it together like an okay. So I was doing my left hand put together like an okay.
You're gonna give a tutorial.
And then you push up your tongue, and then you blow, and then like the air comes between there and your tongue because you gotta roll your lips in.
Roll a
or
R.
Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Roll a R.
Mm-hmm.
Really? That's what they say?
No.
Oh,
I'm you're giving this damn tutorial and we just hanging out.
Nah, but so I was like, yo, a good whistle like that is like important to be able to blow like that. I think that's a fire whistle. And I always wanted to do it when I was young and never figured it out because I never put much effort in. 2023. I'm gonna learn how to whistle properly.
Whistleblower. Go ahead.
Call it what you want. You can call me Mr. Snowden.
Like, wait, what y'all got going on? Oh Lord.
If I call you and you whistle, will you hang up? If I call you and whistle, will you hang up on me?
You know how to whistle, Bunny?
Bunny, can you regular whistle or can you do the cat call whistle? Yo, you my best friend now. Can you whistle like that? Can you do the?
And you ain't know after all these years.
30 goddamn years of best friendage, and let me tell you something. If you can cat call,
it be your own kind.
You can't. Let me tell you something.
This all kind holding back.
Yeah, let me tell you something. This is all we're talking about for the next week. So I don't give a fuck what's going on in your life. Your house could be on fire. We're gonna work on. We about to do a lot of cat calling. Let me tell you this, Bunny. You need to teach me something. You need to teach me something. I need to get on that. I need that. And then we about to be on FaceTime. Like me and Bunny probably done FaceTime less than 10 times in the last 3 years. Mm-hmm. But let me tell you something. That number's about to double. I'm on your ass, buns.
You on your buns?
OG dad joke over here, aka Big Dick Fox.
Buns.
Big phallus Fox over here.
That was good. That was a good one though. You know it was a good one. You gotta give it to me.
Yeah, you really pretty.
Thank you.
Damn, girl. You married?
Please, we already got a situation. You know I'm in a situation.
I'm in the bind, Nate.
I'm in the bind, Nate.
I ain't fucking with you.
I'm in the bind, Nate.
I'm not fucking with you. And no, I'm done with the podcast. No, Bunny, that wasn't good. That wasn't good. And
I'm in the bind.
How about a best friend fuck you? How about a best friend fuck you? I am out. Fuck the dogs. Fuck you. Fuck Fox. Not actually, no, because
I'm in the
done.
bind,
I'm in the bind, Nate. We out. Thank y'all for coming to the podcast. This is overtime. Overtime is officially over because of Bunny and Fox. Y'all can blame them. Fuck that. I'm out. Peace.